So on this one, what we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about tarot and oracle decks. So I have one of each here. I have a tarot deck here. This is called the New Millennium Tarot. And this was actually created by a local to Madison, Wisconsin artist. I think, if I understood him correctly, I have the only printed deck of it. This was his deck. It's his prototype deck. And he gifted it to me after watching me read with it for a while. It's like one of the very, very few tarot decks that I can actually understand. The art and the iconography in many of the other tarot decks doesn't resonate with me, so I don't tend to read a lot of tarot. And that you might find for yourself too. Not every tool is going to be a tool that you can master. It's just like everything else in life. You might be a musician, but you may be limited to a few instruments because the other ones just really aren't something that feel comfortable in your hands, or they don't make as much sense to you. Same thing goes with tarot. So this New Millennium Tarot is actually, without getting into too much of his personal history, this is based a lot on the path of his life. So it's based on the understanding of someone who has traveled a lot of pain, a lot of addictions, a lot of disappointments. So this deck actually kind of makes sense to me. So what I have here is a little chart. I don't know how much of it you can see. This is a basic 6-card chart that I do. Now there are things like Celtic Cross, and there's like infinity spreads. There's all kinds of spreads that you can use. There's the simple 3-card that you can do as well. But the way this deck is set up, or the way this chart is set up, is you date it because you're hanging on to this to, remember your story. So you date it, you talk about which deck is used, so we would write in today's date and Millennium Tarot, or New Millennium Tarot. And then the question or focus for this reading. Now this is a good thing to use if you're doing reading for self. And the reason you do this with reading for self is because then you don't allow your subconscious to constantly change the question. So let's say, for the sake of this particular reading, let's say that the question is going to be, will my financial future become more stable in the near future? Okay, so will my finances become more stable in the future? Let's do that. So what is my overall message for this query? What are some of the negatives regarding this query? What will be my best guides regarding this query? What are some of the positives regarding this query? What will be my best guides regarding this query, and what will be my best guides regarding this query? So we start with, what is my overall message? What are the negatives? What are the positives? And what are 3 good guides for this? And then you kind of sum it up on the bottom. So let's just kind of run this with the tarot so that we can see how that looks. And the question again is, will my finances improve over the near future? Right? Will my finances improve over the near future? Will my finances improve over the near future? So we're working on the idea that these are already cleansed and prepared. I always like to give a good half dozen shuffles or so, but really the rule of thumb with this is to shuffle until you feel you're done. And you don't have to do fancy shuffle like this. You can lay them out and just kind of smear them around the table as long as they get shuffled. Okay? But then again, it comes down to, how do you pull? Do you pull straight off the top? Do you pull some out? Do you wait and see what drops? A lot of times if a card jumps or drops, then you ought to hang on to that. It may not necessarily be part of this standard read, but it can have something to do with the reading. You set it off to the side. So for me, I kind of like to pull out of the middle. I'm going to pull another spot here. Oh, that one jumped, so we're going to set that one out. Now remember, we're talking about, will my finances improve in the near future? So my overall message right now is strength, okay? So this is the idea of being able to stand on my own 2 feet, being able to feel secure and confident in what I'm doing, but also to hang on just a little bit longer. What are some of the negatives regarding this? The world. So there are a lot of things coming at me, there are a lot of opportunities coming at me, but at the same time, those opportunities can be overwhelming. There's too many opportunities, and there's also a lot of different things that are being lobbed at me right now that are going to take some of my finances in order for opportunities to come my way, which, when my finances are shaky and unstable, that's a negative. In the positive, we have the Magician. Now in this case, The magician is standing in to say that I can create my own reality, I can create my own magic, and I can create new and possible opportunities for better financial stability. Some of my guides include the Sun, the Ace of Pentacles, and the Prince of Swords. So we'll start with Prince of Swords. Prince of Swords talks about not quite being there yet, still kind of in an apprenticeship phase. I have a lot of things that I have to do before I'm going to be awarded the status of being able to stand on my own. Which isn't to say I'm not standing on my own now, but I still have a bit of a way to go, so be patient, again, with the strength. The Ace of Pentacles says that there is a new journey starting that's allowing for income. Pentacles is dealing with income. This is also known as coins. The Sun is another one of those that says all possibilities are out there, you just have to decide which path you want to take. Okay? Now the one that I had set aside is the Ten of Pentacles, and what you see with the Ten of Pentacles is you're looking in at a family that has everything that they need. Again, remember, Pentacles is equated to coins, which is equated to prosperity and finance. So this is a family that has everything they need. This is coming. So this tells me that all of this is good, even this negative aspect, all of this is good because it's all pointing towards happier finances, more fulfilling finances, and that there will be safety and security in my future. Okay? So that's what you could do with a tarot deck. Now you can read it out the same way for an oracle deck. Okay? And also on the topic of tarot, you know, I didn't do any reversals on that. I don't like to do reversals, and the reason I don't like to do reversals is because I feel that if you do a reversal and you see something that's negative, and I'm even cautious about using the word negative here, if you see something negative, your energy is going to draw that to you faster than if you see something that's just cautionary and says, be aware of. When you have something that flips upside down and says, oh, these are negative qualities, it's not that I'm all fluffy, you know, fluffy rainbows and nothing will ever be bad. I understand bad things are going to happen, but I don't want to invite them. I don't want to use my energy to invite them and make them come faster, okay? So I don't do flips, I don't do reversals that way. Now, when you use an oracle deck's a real nice one card at a time, but you can do like a past, present, future. You can do a layout like this, you can do Celtic Cross, do any layout that you're really called to. But what I like to do with my oracle deck is I like to do kind of a past, present, future. What 3 things should I know? So where am I coming from? So I'm coming from a place of focused intention, all right? We're still working on the idea of financial security, okay? So I'm coming from a place of focused intention. Right now, I just need to be in a place where I can love myself unconditionally, where I can love my situation unconditionally, because I recognize that it is part of a path, it is part of a development. But for future, I have golden opportunity coming. So this is actually a really nice spread too that says, okay, you know what you want, you just have to relax and trust yourself, trust the universe, and have love for what's going on around you in order to see this golden opportunity come your way. It also helps when, if you're working with an oracle deck, you know the backstory to the card. So for example, Diana, she's the huntress, so she is very focused on what she's doing. She has to have a very keen eye for what it is that she's doing, but she's also a protectress. She's keeping an eye out for those who can't take care of themselves. She's not just hunter versus prey, she is also protector. Mary Magdalene is known as a very compassionate individual and a very passionate individual, and she is the one that understands how to make sacrifices in the name of unconditional love. Yemanya, she is an ocean goddess. I believe she's African, and I could be misspeaking, so please don't quote me. But she is all about having that water energy, that constant renewal that brings about all these different opportunities. So if you kind of know your backstory too, it fills your story out a little bit more and makes a little more sense to you, especially when you're working with an oracle deck that has faces that are similar to yours. Since the greater bulk of my clientele tends to be female, I like to use this goddess deck because we are in this deck. All of us women have all these different aspects within ourselves, and some of them are loud and proud, and some of them are hiding behind little dark doorways, and we never let them out. So it's nice to be able to have this and open it up and say, hey, you remember your Aphrodite? Bring your Aphrodite back out. She just wants to come out and dance and be beautiful, and you have that in you, and be aware of that and be proud of that. remember to love yourself, you know. So that's how you can use oracle decks and tarot decks, quick and dirty. Another form of oracle, I had mentioned this before, is like you can do this with Bibles. You could do this with other. You could do this with. You could do it with pretty much any book, but I've only heard of people really doing it with the Bible, and then I found this book, and this book is kind of the same thing. So you're having a hard time, you go in and you find a page, and so this one says, "Take heart, the seeds of success are often born through difficulty." Now, you tell me if that doesn't fit with what we're talking about right here with our financial stability question. So this is another way of using oracle, okay? Hope that helps.